upset with China, I'll be honest with you, because as much as I like President Xi and as much as I respect the country, they should have told us about this. And I did ask him whether or not we could send some people in. They didn't want that. Out of pride, I think really out of pride. They don't want us sending people into China.
What President Trump is referring to is the fact that the Chinese government deliberately tried to hide the coronavirus from the rest of the world. A possible reason why the Chinese government would do this is because they feared backlash and persecution from other countries, because China was also responsible for the SARS outbreak in 2002, which rolled out in a similar fashion as COVID-19, that is, with transmissions from bats to humans and from humans to other humans. Another reason for hiding COVID-19 was to avoid China being suspected of developing biological weapons to use against other nations. Whatever the reason may be, the delay by China to inform the world about the COVID-19 outbreak has set forward a stage for a pandemic that has now infected more than 3 million people in the world and taken just about 200,000 lives. The Chinese government has tried so hard to distance itself from COVID-19. It has even gone to the lengths of suggesting that the virus may have been introduced into China by the US military, as can be seen by this tweet from the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Rogin Xiao. These allegations were linked to the Military World Games, which took place in Wuhan in October 2019. The Military Games is a multi-sport event for service members from nations around the globe. It is created to promote peace among nations through sport. President Trump was quick to respond to these allegations by making it very clear that the new coronavirus is a Chinese virus and not the other way around.
I have great love for all of the people from our country, but as you know, China tried to say at one point, maybe they stopped now, that it was caused by American soldiers. That can't happen. It's not going to happen, not as long as I'm president. It comes from China. John, please.
Cases of a strange new flu began surfacing in Wuhan in late November 2019. The Chinese government stated that the new virus had come from one of the wildlife markets in Wuhan. They also said that once they closed the market, which they did in New Year's Eve 2019, the virus would go away, as it was not contagious among humans. However, this is not what happened. Findings from researchers and doctors working in Wuhan suggest that the Chinese government did know that the virus was contagious among humans, but they decided not to tell the world in time. The researchers reviewed the clinical charts, nursing records, lab findings, and chest x-rays of the first 41 patients who had confirmed COVID-19 infections. Among other things, they reported that the first case of COVID-19 wasn't even linked to the wet market at the center of the outbreak. As can be seen from this last chart, by the time China informed the world about the outbreak, which was on November 31st, there were already numerous cases of COVID-19 that had no connection to the Wuhan market. Another suspicious activity done by the Chinese government is the disruption of healthcare workers. Dr. Li Wenliang, a senior doctor at the Wuhan Central Hospital, was the first person to try warn the world about the pandemic. He disclosed his observation of what appeared to be a SARS-like infection to his colleagues. Later, him and 7 of his colleagues were reprimanded by the Chinese police for rumor-mongering. The police then compelled Dr. Li to double down and sign a letter in which he was told to carefully reflect on his behavior and stop engaging in illegal activities. After being diagnosed with COVID-19 at the end of January, Dr. Li died in early February from the virus. While the wet market in Wuhan remains prime suspect, the spotlight has swiftly shifted to the Wuhan Virology Lab. Although the role of this lab in regards to COVID-19 was initially discussed in the early days of the outbreak, there was extreme backlash from both the Chinese government and the WHO, who have made researching the origin of the virus a politically sensitive issue by continually accusing those who seek the truth with stigmatization and discrimination. While it is true that some people may use the outbreak to discriminate against Asian people, it is not racist to investigate the origin of the virus, the same way the WHO doesn't find it racist to refer to the 2012 epidemic as the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus. According to an article written by Josh Rogin on the Washington Post, in 2018, a US diplomat and a science diplomat from the Beijing embassy visited the Wuhan Institute of Virology lab multiple times from January to March. They sent back 2 sensitive but unclassified messages to Washington, D.C. They reported of a lack of proper safety procedure and concern over the Institute's study of coronaviruses in animals, including birds. They also warned that the lab represented a risk of a new SARS-like pandemic. There is another interesting paper which was written by Botao in February 2020. Botao is a professor from the South China University of Technology, and in February, he published a paper titled The Possible Origins of the 2019 Coronavirus. According to Xiao, they interviewed 59 people who confirmed that the colony of bats which supposedly carries the coronavirus disease was not traded within 90 kilometers or 56 miles of Wuhan. The possible origins paper was quickly censored by the Chinese authorities, permanently disappearing online. In a White House press briefing, President Trump was asked about the increasing skepticism that the virus originated from a lab in Wuhan. This is what President Trump had to say.
A lot of people are looking at it. It seems to make sense. They talk about a certain kind of bat, but that bat wasn't in that area. If you can believe this, that's what they're down to now is bats. But that bat is not in that area. That bat wasn't sold at that wet zone. It wasn't sold there. That bat is 40 miles away. So a lot of strange things are happening, but there is a lot of investigation going on, and we're going to find out.
The Chinese government downplayed the severity of the virus and tightly controlled information relating to it. This includes its ability to transmit from person to person, the number of people infected, and the circumstances around the death of Dr. Li. The dishonesty demonstrated by the Chinese government is very suspicious. It is the reason why so many people are relentless in investigating the true origins of COVID-19. Do you agree with our take on COVID-19? Tell us what you think in the comment section below.